Thanks everyone for joining. This is our annual meeting. To kick things off, I'll go ahead and share out the agenda that was borrowed from last year. I have first on the agenda is state of Crash Space. Is there anything you'd like to speak to that, Liz?
Yeah, just that I think the state of Crashbase is that we're doing great. We have a really active membership. We have folks in the space who are starting meetings. We have like regular coding socials and crafting hangouts. And basically, whenever somebody says, I want to do something like having a game dev night, like we make it happen and then people come out and it's really exciting. So, in addition to events, like obviously we have people in the space, we have new tools, we're meeting the needs of our members, and we're also recruiting new folks by having new tools and having new events and workshops. And yeah, so I think the state of the space is great. I'm really excited for what we're doing and what we have planned in regards to like beautification efforts. I think we're doing great. You're on mute.
Thank you for the reminder. Moving along to our 2022 year in review, then we have Theron.
Okay, I have a little presentation here. Let me go and share that.
Your turn to be on mute, Theron.
Yeah, good point. Let's see here. I have a little presentation here. Share. Dang it. Present now. There we go. And a tab. And that. Ooh. Okay. Okay, Crashbase 2022 year in review. So I just got a few little things here. So one of the big things is we kind of reopened for after the pandemic, right? We early 2022, we started having our first in-person things again, which is crazy that we were closed so long, but the virtual events went so well for us that we decided to continue a lot of the things as virtual hybrid mixes, which is I think has worked out pretty well. And membership didn't dip that much during the pandemic, but we started to see a little bit of attrition right at the beginning of the year, but then it started to increase once we started reopening. Space improvements. I just went through, looked at some of the notes from the meetings, and we got the shipping container, which will become an important part of sort of our future capacity plans as we move into the future. We also got the embroidery machine. And then we have a proper air conditioner and heater in the front room now. And we replaced the water cooler because we got rid of that during the pandemic. So those are some of the space improvements. There are others, but I think we had to do some roof repairs as well. But the sponsored membership program kind of continued into 2022, and I know that we had a couple people that we sponsored during the year. I'm not sure on the numbers exactly, and if we have that information, Sean, you can provide it to me, and I can sort of drop it in here. But the program continues, and we're getting people who are donating on a regular basis, even monthly, sort of to support this program. So this is something that we should sort of definitely try and make sure that we're taking advantage of going forward, because we kind of started it during tough, downturn time during the pandemic. But I think it's a very good program, and we should continue doing it. But on those lines, I have a little placeholder here for membership. Do you want to grab the presenter and sort of show the membership information, Josh?
Yes, absolutely. Let me see if I can get that in the windows that I need. And yes, I can. Okay. So I want to start, since we're talking about 2022, I want to start with where we started and where we ended in 2022 and where we are right now. Let me see if you guys can see that now.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so we had 71 total active members Jan as of Jan 22nd, 2022. So January, we're at 71 members, and we actually ended the year up from that number, which I think is pretty good at 74. So even though 2022 was a pandemic period, we did have an increase in members over the year. So I think that's really good. Now the current state is even better, but I think we're on an upward swing. We're at 77 right now. So 2022 was both actually a good year for us, but it set us up for, I think, our best year potentially yet. I've got to check the numbers, but I think we're at the highest total members we've had since I joined up, and possibly ever. I'm not sure about that, but 77 is pretty close to the record. So yeah, in pretty good shape. That is my report.
Excellent. Thank you.
The next thing on my little presentation was financial report. Kurt, you want to pop in here and present
sure.
that?
Hang on. Let me grab. I'm going to grab the entire window. I'm going between pages. Okay. Now we're going to be like weird, so let's just do this. Shoot, wrong one. You don't need to see that. Here we go. So this is was the state of our assets at the end of 2022, and I'm just bringing this up because 2022 was a very good year for donations for Crash. See it more later. We had two major donations. One was from Sammy Kamkar, and one was another donation for $7,500, over $7,500, which gave us a very high amount in our liquid assets. This just represents liquid assets. And you'll notice also there's a requirement in the Kamkar donation to spend a certain amount of those funds, and this number here, 173,395, that was the amount we had less those allocated funds. So we're going to look through here. Here's this was as of the end of December 2022. We have the donation amount, which you can see over $62,000, and by then we'd only made just over $1,000 in purchases, which I think was the embroidery machine. So it had a large amount remaining. 2023 is a year where our liquid assets will appear to go down because we're converting the liquid assets into major upgrades for the space. But since this is a 2022 report, I'm not going to bring those up. We can see the numbers for the sponsorship fund. We had a significant amount of donations in, and we'd been using them pretty consistently. If we look at the cash flow, this just gives us an idea. The important thing here is the net income line, which as long as that stays black, we're happy. You can see that for the most part, it is in the black. It had some, major jumps, particularly in July, and then again at the end of December. That's when another donation hit. So in terms of this, basically financially, end of 2022, Crash is in a very, very strong position, and actually looking to get some of our liquid assets into investments so that they can start working for us. If we look into 2023, you'll see here on our net income line, we have all of this red. This isn't real. So please, if you see this, you'll go into the reports. I have to adjust all of these reports due to an error in our accounting. The wrong amount is in our membership fees because we were paying out expenses from PayPal, and these should be in different places. So it is getting very confusing. But basically, we are in a very strong financial position going forward, and the red that you will start to see in 2023, first of all, it has to be adjusted because there's a membership issue. But secondly, we're going to be starting to see red as equipment is purchased for the Camcar donation, and that puts us in the red. But it won't put us in the red for the true accounting, because that will include our assets, which we will have a new welding equipment and a much larger and more capable laser cutter. So there we go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kurt. And if you can send me that report, I can drop it into my little thing here, and we can
Okay.
sort of turn this into the annual report.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
I will.
In whatever form, the PDF would be fine. Just whatever
Mhm.
form makes most sense for you. Okay. Now back to a little overview. We continued doing regular events throughout 2022. We added some. So some of these, like the drawing group and the cardboard cabal and the writing group, were kind of new things, but Video Dim Sum was a particularly active throughout the year, thanks to Levi, which is awesome. And again, also thanks to Levi, we had talks. We had some very interesting looking talks, and these are the ones that I could find write-ups on. Two of them were from Michael Grube. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. And Levi also gave a talk about his urban ecology research. And then we also participated in OC Maker Faire and grabbed a picture off the blog here because Liz and Barb spoke on one of the panels about makerspaces. Hackaday SuperCon happened, and we had like 3 Crash people give talks, which is awesome. And then wanted to do some member project highlights. Levi was very busy during the year. He published several papers, and he also got us the he was working on getting the grant for his DNA research with Crash as a fiscal sponsor. And that seemed to happen during 2022. Kurt, you can correct me on that, but that did seem to happen during the year, so that's why I included it. One other cool thing, Crash Space kind of helped me raise like $5,000 for the National MS Society, and we did a virtual walkathon in Minecraft, which was kind of cool. Barb was on the screenshot there. Samuel Goldstein did some really cool, and I'm just grabbing stuff out of the notes for the weekly meetings. Did some really cool paper lantern things, cutouts, which is kind of neat. Dimitri launched his drink business, Besitos, and got them into stores. Grant won his virtual autonomous race. And put a link here to the YouTube video covering all the gory details on that. That was kind of cool. Mark and Wendy launched a new project on their they called the Illuminated Pendulum on Kickstarter. Liz made a bunch of costumes throughout the year, which were all awesome. And Barb helped me make the Monkey Business deck of cards, which snuck in just under the wire at the end of the year. Made it a real product printed by the USPSC. So anyway, that was kind of my year in review. If I missed anything, make sure you like do show and tells at the meetings and put stuff in the blog, because that's where I find all this stuff, because 2022 feels like such a long time ago. So I will stop presenting now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Theron. On to myself with the election results. It's come as no big spoiler, but we had everybody win in the election. And I do want to extend a thank you to everyone for their continued service to CrashSpace, board members and officers. It is, of course, because of everyone volunteering their time and their energy that everything is able to continue. That being said, we did reach quorum. We reached quorum relatively easily. So I think that is indicative of an active membership. And I feel like this is just all coming up CrashSpace with regards to elections, with regards to participation. And it feels good. That's our election results.
How many votes total do we end up with?
We ended up with 30. Excuse me. We ended up with 31 votes, and after the first week, we had 21, and then 10 more trickled in the next week. So I'm personally a fan of this 2 weeks of voting. I feel like last election, I was having to nudge people a lot more, and having the 2 weeks just felt easier. So yay, everyone. And then the last item I have on our annual meeting agenda is any member business. Is there anything that any members would like to bring up at this time? No? Okay. Well, that is our annual meeting.